Are your possessions trashing your love life? And can the stuff you have around you in your home influence your health, your wealth, and your happiness, or maybe even break your relationship? And speaking of breaking a relationship, should you fight over your things when you're going through a divorce?
Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
Hello, and welcome to Angelscapes, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith, your guide to living a soul-powered life. You're invited to join my Facebook group, Soul Power Living, where we can pick up the discussions that we start in this podcast. So, question, can the stuff that you keep at home influence your health, your wealth, and your happiness, or can it even break your relationship? My next guest says yes, and she can show you how. Best-selling author, speaker, and interiors therapy expert Suzanne Roynon is the founder and the face of interiorsTherapy.com. Remember that website, interiorsTherapy.com. Taking Home Sweet Home to a whole new level, Suzanne works with her clients to help them create a happier home and surround themselves with positive energy for a life of success, abundance, and love. And she's a leading expert of her field. Really worth listening to her. Thanks, Suzanne, for coming on board.
It's an absolute pleasure, Nancy. Thank you for having me.
And I just am amazed with your expertise. You belong to the Feng Shui Guild. You're based in the UK, which is very cool that you came all the way over the ocean just to talk to us.
Of course.
And, Suzanne, you're going to help people see your possessions differently. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions, but you've been in all kinds of magazines, and my favorite one is Architectural Digest. My dad's was an architect, and he'd get that magazine, and we would just spend hours looking through it. And I want to buy this couch, and when I grow up, I'm going to have this, and none of it looks like that here. But I would love for you to start off by talking to us about how a home really impacts the people that are living in it.
Well, it's all about the things you keep around you, Nancy. Now, I work on two levels. I work on the feng shui of a home, which is about the energy that is built into the walls and the floors and the space itself. But that's the feng shui side of things. The interiors therapy side of things, which is something that everybody can grab onto right now, is all about the stuff we keep around us. And all of those things will either have a negative impact on us. That might be things that relate to a previous relationship, a previous job that we left and we didn't enjoy, things that have made us unhappy at some stage, things that are broken, anything really that brings us down in some way. Then we'll have the very neutral stuff. That's probably things like the tea kettle, the saucepans, the cutlery, very, very standard stuff. And then we've got the things that bring us absolute delight in our lives. Now, those will be photos of the people we love, beautiful gifts that we've been given. Flowers, for example, you might be able to see behind me, there are just 2 roses left in a little vase there. And those are the 2 left of the dozen spectacular roses that came on Valentine's Day. And I look at those and I just feel so uplifted. I mean, it's just incredible. I look at the globe behind me and it uplifts me. But if there are things around you, say for the sake of argument that you left a corporate job and you left under a cloud, or you decided you absolutely hated it, but in your cupboard there is still a mug from that job. Okay.
Yeah.
Every time you see that logo, it brings your subconscious down by a notch or two. And when you anticipate seeing that, that means that every time you open that cupboard, your subconscious is already preparing to sync in response to that item. Now, if you have finished a relationship and your entire home is full of reminders of your ex-partner, can you imagine how that then amplifies the distress that you're already experiencing
Right.
from a relationship ending?
Yeah, yeah. You're not letting go of that
No,
relationship. And how can you invite a new relationship in if that space is still being taken up?
absolutely. And then when we get to things like the marital bed, if you think about the fact that we shed skin cells every single night, every time we're in that bed, we're shedding. And those skin cells, that DNA, it's going into the actual mattress, it's going into the pillows, into the bed linen.
Mm.
And how can you then expect to bring a lovely new relationship that's worthy of your time and attention if you're still sleeping effectively in a soup of your previous partner?
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't
Yes.
that just really
Yes.
hit
Yeah.
home? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Oh my God. I think the mattress sales are going to go up after you said this.
Well, it's something that when I'm
Yeah.
working with divorcees, and I'll
Yeah.
sometimes be working with divorcees 10 years after their marriage ended,
Oh.
and they are still sleeping on that mattress, and they're
Oh
wondering
my
why
God.
their husband's moved on and, is happy as anything in
Yeah.
his new relationship, and they're still feeling angry and bitter. And if they can't shake him away from them, well, that's because they're basically sleeping with him every night.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You know, when I got divorced, that's one of the, within 6 months, my mattress was gone and I had a
Mhm.
new one there. But I see, because I had that heebie-jeebie feeling, but you're describing it
Now
so
you know
well.
why.
Yeah. Yeah. It's perfect. So, s- can we talked in one of the questions that had, can stuff really destroy relationships and marriages? Not before the mattress becomes the divorce mattress. What in the house can cause disharmony between couples or even
Well,
children? Yeah.
that's just such an interesting question. So what I think is if you look around a house and you see a lot of solo objects, so maybe a solo candle or a solo cushion, you perhaps just got one chair at the table, then that is saying to me already that there is loneliness. As you're feeling very much as though you're doing this on your own, even if you're in a relationship. If you have got, I saw in one place a great big image, and I think it must have been, a blown up thing from a cartoon, and it was a girl with a tear in her eye and a broken heart, and this was up on the wall in the kitchen, and it was just like saying right away, this is a place with a broken heart, and sure enough, it
It
was
was.
heading in that direction. And so
Oh
one of the
no.
first things we did in that home, because neither of them wanted to go their separate ways, but it felt as though they were being pulled apart. So they got me
Yeah.
in to see what we could do. And that was one of the first things I saw, this broken
Oh
heart image.
gosh.
And everywhere in that house you looked were single hearts. They, single hearts made of
Oh.
dried flowers, single hearts made of metal. And I think they decided that what they wanted to do was to fill their home with love. So they chose the heart as a symbol of love, but without acknowledging that one heart on his own is not doing you very much good at all
Oh
if you
my
want to be
goodness. Yeah. Yeah. I never thought of that. So, wow.
always things in pairs. That would be the first thing, walking away from this chat. If your listeners take away one thing, if you want to be in a balanced and healthy relationship, have things around you in pairs. That might be matching nightstands, matching lamps. If you're going out shopping for some new mugs, buy two mugs, not just one,
Good
Pair
idea.
energy, very powerful stuff.
That wonder if I did this intuitively because we were moved in together and we were just kind of getting the living room set up, and I had this inclination. I wanted to buy these matching lamps. They were blown glass, I think they're hand blown glass, and they were just lovely. And I had to buy two of them. And I'm wondering if that was I need two of so I needed two
That,
to light up the room. So,
yeah, that's absolutely it. People who are happy in a relationship, a happy couple will buy things in pairs.
no
But
kidding.
if you are not happy, or if you are running solo right now, whether you want to be with somebody or you don't, you're more likely to buy something on its own. A single tray, for example, or
Yeah.
a single lamp. And so
Hmm.
these little things, they tell a story. So when I do a walk around for 30 minutes for prospective clients, because I always like to get to know them before I agree to work with them. And so we'll do a walk around of their home, and I will spot things, and their home will give things away about what's going on. And they kind of go, how did you know that? I haven't told anybody that. I might say, well, I suspect you're celibate. And then how did you know? And there'll be things around the house that will
Wow.
say to me, yeah, this is what's going on for you. And they're not even natural things to have around the house. They're decor items, but they're pushing this sort of world of celibacy onto people. So I always encourage them to wave those things goodbye.
Yeah, you get this out of here. I'm going to have you walk through my house. I could get rid of a few things.
I'm looking forward to it, Nancy.
But I just wanted to say to the listeners that you can find Suzanne on her website, which is I'm looking for it on this. Isn't that silly? I had it in my head. Um, interiourstherapy.com, and
Mhm.
read all about what she does. And she is open to any, just contact her. You're in the UK, but you work with people all over this,
I work with
all
people
over.
all over the world. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mostly remotely, but sometimes I fly to the States to work in person with my clients. In a couple of weeks, I'm flying to the south of France to work with clients there. So I go where I'm needed, and that's the
Yeah,
joy of my
yeah,
job. I get to go and,
yeah,
do ultra,
yeah.
ultra fast work with people in their
Wow.
own homes. But it's just as effective doing
Yeah.
it remotely.
Okay. Yeah. So you have Suzanne has a book called Welcome Home by Suzanne Roynon, and it's on Amazon. And the link will be in the show notes. So just find Welcome Home by Suzanne Roynon. You can research that, right, guys? And then what else can I tell people about how you'd work with them or how to contact you?
Well, the website is absolutely the best way. And
Okay.
as I was explaining, I do this 30-minute walk around of people's homes. So
Okay.
if there are various reasons that people come to me. Sometimes it's that they're feeling miserable and they're feeling unsupported by their home. So they'll come to me for that reason.
Okay.
Sometimes it's that they've been on their own for a long time and they've decided it's time to move forward. Sometimes it's that they're already successful, but they want to be even more successful. And that is where we really amplify the interior therapy with the feng shui as well.
Okay.
Feng shui is so powerful. Would you like to know a little bit about feng shui house
Yes.
types?
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay, so there are 4 essential house types with your feng shui. So listen out, and you don't need to tell me, but just listen and say, think which one might apply most to you. So house type number 1 is good for people and it's good for money. And this is an incredible house to live in. It's a very happy house. The money will always flow. People tend to get along very, very well. And it's kind of the lucky house in the neighborhood. It's the one where they win the lottery. They've always got new cars and they have the spectacular holidays. So that's a good for money and good for people house. Then there is a good for money, but bad for people. And this one is where you will get the high net worth divorces, The people who just make money hand over fist, but they are miserable in themselves. They might have illness. It doesn't matter how hard they work at something. Things in their relationships, their family just don't go the way they want them to. The next house type is a house that is good for people, but it's bad for money. So this is the opposite situation in that there's never enough money ever at the end of the month. And it doesn't matter what job you do. It doesn't matter if you get, a $100,000 bonus at the end of the year. You will get a bill that comes in for almost that amount. The money goes out as quickly as it comes in. But the family are great. They're healthy. They're happy. They pull together. It's a good team. And then the final house type is bad for people and bad for money. And that's kind of the opposite of everything good. It's a really challenging property to live in. Seldom enough money. Things go wrong in relationships. You get illness. It can be chronic illness. It can be one silly thing after another. You go out for the evening and you fall off a curb, for example, and break your ankle.
Oh my gosh.
Something as silly as that. And then somebody else in the family will damage their knee, and somebody else will fall and bang their heads, or, they'll get COVID on their birthday, something silly like that. And so that's a house that's got all of that bad for people energy. But then when you combine it with the bad for money energy, there's no money to pay for the drugs or the rehab or the physiotherapy.
Oh boy.
And so it's really frustrating. But those are the four house types, the four primary house types. So when I'm working on the feng shui of somebody's home, the first thing I'm looking to do is find out what's going on, what's happened so far.
Mm-hmm.
Is it all going brilliantly and we're just making things even more spectacular for you? Or have we got to bring some extra balance in before we get to that stage? So yeah, that's where we start off with the feng shui, and it is fascinating.
Wow. Well, that is, I wonder what kind of house I have. But so can you change those energies? I mean, to the positive?
Balance.
Yeah.
You balance them, Nancy. The only way you can change them is actually to do a lot of work on the house. So that might be a big remodeling or extending it. If you take the roof off for a fortnight, you can change the energy of a property.
Okay.
But other than that, it does tend to stay the same. I have been working on a property recently, it's a multi-million-pound house.
Wow.
It's good for people and it's good for money.
Okay.
And this is another little layer of feng shui. We get things called locks. And a house can go into a lock for 20 years or a year. And this house, not that they realise this, they called me up because they're getting divorced. And I said, your house has got perfect energy. What's going on? Not that they've had it remedied or anything, but what's going on. And they just said, things had started to go astray. I said, well, tell me when. Was it February of 2024 when things started to go wrong? And it's like, yeah, that's exactly when things started to go wrong.
Yeah.
And that was the time when their house went into a people lock. So everything started going wrong with the people side of the house, and now they're getting divorced. It's probably too far gone to rescue it. But what we can do is create a relationship where they can parent together and, move forward as a team as opposed to as a couple. But you can time these things literally almost to the date when you know what you're looking for.
And wow. And what is a lock and that kind of thing?
A lock. It's one of those, it's a complex series of calculations that we do to understand what's going on. But it shows up in the way things are happening for people. So when my apartment went into a lock, everything went from going really smoothly to being like dragged along on the back of a truck on the bumpy road. Everything just got much harder than it needed to be. So once I put the remedy in for that, you have to put the remedy in the right place. There's a certain amount of remedy you have to do, and then it just balances out again, and it's like it never happened. So what I'm going to be doing with this couple is to say, right, this is the remedy you need. This is where you need to put it. This is what I would like you to do. And then I think what we'll do is we'll make sure that they then, as I said, run smoothly through their future lives as parents, even though they're going their separate ways in their relationship. It's just a shame that they didn't come to me 2 years ago, because this need never have happened.
Now, how did you how did you nail or hone in on the date? Would a certain thing happen in the house or?
It was when they were telling me that everything had been so good. They'd been in this house for 12 years. It had all been wonderful. They'd renovated it. I mean, their house is spectacular. It looks like it would grace a really beautiful magazine, you know? It's that kind of walk in and feel fantastic space. And just chatting to them, or chatting to him primarily, you know, what's happened, what's gone on, when. And I was already starting to suspect, but it was when I said, okay, I need you to just answer a very personal question. When did things start to go wrong? And he sort of said, well, early 2024. And I said, how early? We're talking February? Yeah, February. So, yeah, sometimes you can actually pinpoint the moment that the energy's changed in February if your house is going into a lock. And so this is,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm sorry. Was it
well,
an event or was it something that they moved into the house or was it just kismet, just like,
no. So when we work with the energy of a property, we know that a property changes slightly each year. And in a particular year in a house's cycle, it will go into what we call a lock. Now, this one is unfortunate that it went into a 20-year lock and didn't have what it needed to get out of it. Now, there's another house I'm working with, which again, similar scenario, beautiful house, amazing people, they're actually selling. Now, their house is also good for money and good for people. It's also in a lock, but they had accidentally put the remedy in. They didn't even realize it was a remedy. So their lives are flowing. Everything's going beautifully,
nice.
even though it's in a lock, but they fixed it. They fixed it and it's all going really, really well.
Oh.
So it's an easy fix if you know what you're doing. And that's what feng shui is all about. We dig into the energy of your house and we identify where those glitches are. We make sure that we balance those out with natural remedies. We're not talking about, kitsch frogs or dangly wind chimes or, oh, no, no.
Do you have to get a new furniture or something like that? Is it a?
Absolutely not. We might move some rugs around. The remedies are all elemental. So it might be metal. It might be wood. Now, wood is just done with living plants. So easy. It might be earth. That can be crystals. It can be stones. It can be sand from the beach.
Okay.
If it's water, it's literally water in a vase with a little pump keeping it moving. And if it's fire, which is the easiest one of all, it's just done with colour. So, for example, this shirt I'm wearing would be a fire remedy.
Oh, okay.
All on its own. And you see, when you know exactly what you need to put in your home and where, you balance it all out. And suddenly you walk into your house and it just feels like it's breathing differently, as though it's come alive. And instead of working against you, which so many homes do, if you go home and you don't feel comfortable or things aren't going right, then your home is working against you.
Right.
So having it on your side, doing what you need it to do for you, whether that's the new job, the pay rise, the unexpected windfall, the engagement, solving the fertility problems, whatever is working against you, you can use feng shui to identify that and to resolve it.
Wow. What was without giving away too much information personally, what was the remedy in the house that got locked and they ended up deciding to split?
It needs water. It
Needs
needs
water.
water in a particular place and an amount of water that relates to the lock itself. And if they put that in, as I said, they will get on better. It's
Okay.
just persuading the lady of the house that this is a good plan.
Oh, that's opposite of what you usually run into. It's usually the lady
Mm.
talking to the man, but
You're right. You're right. It is mostly ladies who come to me first, but it's very interesting how many, if I'm doing a walk around of a house, you'll be aware that whilst it might be the lady holding the phone, the husband's there in the background checking out what this lady's saying and just sort of saying, "Oh, yeah, we need to do this."
okay. Oh, that is sweet. That is sweet. Um, you made a comment to me earlier, and I captured it. When somebody's going through a divorce, um, and they're fighting over the things, you were suggesting maybe don't fight over the things, just let them all go.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
talk about that more because you have the practicality of I have the sofa, I have the end tables. I need this house set up, and I can't afford to buy anymore. Talk. What do you suggest?
Well, you're absolutely right. If you're going away from a relationship and money is extremely tight, then don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. There will be some bits of furniture, maybe some crockery, in addition to your own personal items you would choose to take with you.
Mhm.
And I absolutely get that. I had to do that too. You know, I've been divorced, so I was in that situation.
Okay.
But when I got divorced, I thought very, very carefully about this now. I want to say this is 30 years ago. Okay, so I've been at this a while. But 30 years ago, I took from my marital home a bed for my daughter to sleep in, which
Mhm.
was the spare bed, and
Okay.
a barrel of photographs that were a mixture of his family and my family. But I wanted to go through and take the photos out for my family before returning the rest to him because that was his past, you know? So that's what I took out of my marriage. I deliberately left with nothing. I got secondhand stuff rather than
Oh,
live
okay.
with the energy that was there. Because I knew if I looked at the couch, I would see him sitting on that
Yeah.
couch. If I took the coffee table, I would see his feet on the coffee
The
table.
coffee table.
You know, I certainly didn't want any of the art we'd bought together, for example, because every time I looked at it, I'm very visual, you see. So I
Yeah.
will remember where I got something
Yeah.
and when I got something.
Right.
Now, if you're thinking about that amazing holiday in Turkey when you bought that piece of art, and every time you look at it, you're thinking about the person who was standing beside you. How do you release them from
Yeah.
your life?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes, I absolutely accept that there are often things that, especially when you've been married for a long, long time or you've been together a long while, there will be things that you have to take with you. There might be things that are personal to you. I remember one very bitter man had taken the nursery rocking chair from the house that had actually belonged to his wife's grandmother. And
Oh,
this was really, really important to her. And he'd taken it deliberately to just get some revenge. Well, it was him who came to work with me, interestingly enough.
really?
Um, and we talked about the things he had, and he explained this to me. And I just said, well, you know, I'm not even going to think about working with you if you're still so bitter that you will hold on to a piece of furniture that is an antique from your wife's family just to get back at her.
Well, you said that. You like
Oh,
laid it right
yeah.
out there. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
yeah. Totally, totally. You know, people can do the most twisted things at the end of a relationship.
They do.
Um,
Absolutely true. Yeah.
take a heritage christening gown, for example, that belonged to the other person's family, even
Oh,
though there aren't any children. So they'll take that just to get back
wow.
at the other.
Wow. Wow.
So,
Wow.
you know, one
Yeah.
of the things, if we're in a bitter divorce situation, then odds on there will be a whole load of stuff that's going back to where it belongs. because, then it's not going to do you any good. I mean, if you
Right.
look at something and every time you look at it, you're thinking, that gets you or serves you right or
Yeah, that's not,
it makes you bitter.
yeah.
It's not helping you at all. It's poisoning you. It's
Oh,
toxic.
yeah. Yeah.
But, there are people who do it just to extract revenge. And it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman or somewhere in between. Revenge is poisoning you. It's making you ill. It's breaking down the cells in your body because that hatred that you're clinging on to is just destroying you from the inside out. You
Yeah.
won't be happy while those things are there. So, goodness sake, give them back.
Get him back. Okay. I had this, I don't want you to fix my problem, but I see people doing this all the time. I don't know which things to keep and which things to let go of because they all mean important to me. It must be some kind of dyslexic thing. Everything is important. And so and I've read books about if you love it, keep it. If it's get rid of it. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. In any event, in a divorce, I ended up with stuff because he didn't want any of it, but he didn't want to move it, and I ended up moving it, and I don't, and I'm trying to get it out of my life. But in any event, a lot of things, just like rabbits, kept. And how do you? What's a good tool to use to say you stay, you go, you stay, you stay, you go, you go, you go?
Well, if anybody's ever used muscle testing before, which is a kinesiology technique, is that something that you use,
Yep.
Nancy?
Yeah, we
Okay.
could do. Yeah, there's, oh my gosh, so many different ways of using it. Right.
Well, so I tend to use the sway technique with my clients because I can talk them through that on a
Okay.
video call. And I'll say to them, right, hold this thing in your hands. So hold this thing in your hands and ask yourself, should I be keeping this? And you've already worked out your yes, no response. So
Yeah.
if it's a no, well, bye. And if it's a yes, fantastic, keep them.
Okay. Yeah.
And, I found that I had, oh gosh, how many books? Ridiculous numbers of books.
Right.
And,
I can relate to that.
you know,
Surprising. Yeah.
so again, before I buy a book now, I'll actually hold it in my hand and just ask myself whether I'm actually going to read it. And if the answer is no, well, I'll just put it back on the shelf. But I can go through in my own stuff, my wardrobe, my shoes, whatever. So what I'll do is I will also then teach my clients to do that with their own stuff. And so if we're working in person, for example, and they say, I've got all of these books, I don't know what to do, I love my books, I can't bring myself to part with them. Well, my feeling is that books are made to be read. That's their purpose, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
To enlighten, to bring delight, to bring joy, to bring knowledge. But if you have got books on your bookshelf that have been sitting there just gaining dust for 10 years, how are they fulfilling their purpose and how are they supporting you? So do this technique, take a book off the shelf. Am I ever going to read this? Should I keep it? If the answer is no, then you just let that go and it'll find its way to somebody who really does want to read it, who absolutely can benefit from its presence in their life, instead of you doing the whole dog in the manger thing and keeping it just because.
I
So
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
if you do that with each of those things that you then brought with you, is this chair something that I need to keep? No. Okay. Well, I'll let that go then.
Okay. And if it's something that you love and it makes you feel good,
You keep it.
you keep it.
Absolutely, you keep it.
Right, 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 right. So it's a challenge for a lot of people. A lot of people have memories, mom's old stuff or dad's old stuff, and we can see people running into their old age. Oh, this is kids. They're cleaning out mom and dad's house. Mom and
Yeah.
dad are gone now, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And then the kids are having trouble
This
because the
is me
memories
trying
are.
to see neighbours right now. Mum has gone into a home and the family are now trying to sort out her stuff. Now, it's only a tiny apartment. It's a little 2-bedroom apartment, but it is crammed with so much stuff, and none of them want it. But they're all feeling incredibly guilty because it was mum's stuff, it was dad's stuff,
Yeah.
and so they've actually come to me and said, what do we do? Can we get some free advice, please? What are we going to do with this? And I've just said, look, if there's no room for this in your home, you're not under any obligation to keep anything. And yes, mum and dad might, 50 years ago have spent their entire earnings on this thing. But if you don't want it, you do not have to keep it. You are allowed to say, no, thank you.
So here, all my friends listening, Suzanne's giving you permission to let go of stuff, even though somebody else loved it.
Yeah. Their memories are not your memories.
Yeah.
The things that were precious to them don't have to be precious to you. You might want to keep 1 or 2 photographs, but my grandmother had hundreds of photographs. Well, most of them are of people we don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
Or views of places that none of us know what
Where did this come from?
that place is, which country it is, or anything. Small black and white photos. What good is this doing to us? Nothing at all.
Yeah, unless it's a photo of great grandfather blah that nobody knew who it was, and you want it part of your family and ancestry. I mean, I think there needs to be a reason, or there needs to be a connection or something.
Yeah, there's a great difference between keeping a photograph of your great grandfather, a single photograph of him, and keeping 400 photographs because one of those people in that photograph might be him.
Right.
So you are allowed to not want things. And, I've made it very, very clear to my daughter. Now, my daughter lives in the States. It would be enormously difficult for her to keep things of mine if, as and when I decide to shuttle off the mortal coil. I've said to her, just, don't even think about it. Give the lot away. There's a small box of mementos. It's about the size of a box that you'd get a pair of boots in.
Mm-hmm.
But those are my treasures. But they're my treasures. They're not necessarily her treasures. If she doesn't want them, well, I'm not going to need them, am I?
Go. Yeah. So in all of this decluttering, there's a couple things that can happen. You can clear the clutter, then 6 weeks later, and this is my parents did this. They had a huge flood in their basement, and they were older, so they didn't smell things. So the kids came in from a distance visit and walked in the house and said, "What is that?" And it was awful. So they spent, they called this other kids, and they got a dumpster and they cleared out the whole basement and cleaned it out, and all of a sudden, wow, open a basement. And then they came back. I was way out of state and I came back in. They had gone to flea markets and replaced every single item.
Filled it up again.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with a client, now this is all about nature abhorring a vacuum. Let's get Aristotle into the conversation, why don't we? If you make a space and you don't refill that space with a more positive energy, then what comes back in is more clutter, more dross. Same with a relationship. If you clear out one toxic relationship, but you don't cleanse that space and you don't uplift the energy around you, then all you're going to attract is another similar toxic relationship. So 2 different levels of the same thing, really.
Right.
So the way I work with my clients is obviously with feng shui, but we also do these little space clearing ceremonies where we just zap away all the negative energy in a space and then replace it with something lighter and brighter. And then you just enjoy this extra light, and the vibe is just incredible. Seriously, Nancy, it's just so uplifting. And you can't help but just walk into your space and go, oh, it's so close. And then you don't want to fill it up with other people's rubbish.
Well, so if they had cleared out, I know the siblings all did it and they were angry. Why are you throwing all this stuff out? Because and again, they were older and couldn't smell anything. And if that space had been reconstituted into an artist's room or something they put something in and dedicated that space to something, it would no longer be a vacuum in
Yeah,
theory.
exactly. But it's if some people will take pride in having empty drawers in their dresser
Yeah.
because they know that everything that they're using, they've got plenty of space. But there'll be other people who feel that they've been
Mhm.
shortchanged or they're missing out on something if
Right.
every drawer in their dresser isn't crammed to the point where you can barely close it.
Right.
How much nicer is it to have that whole spacious vibe around you where every single thing you own is something that you use, you need, or you love. But there is nothing to bring you down. There's nothing in your wardrobe that doesn't fit or that needs a repair that you never got around to. Or, those when a sweater goes bobbly and you don't want to wear it anymore.
But it's so pretty. Yeah.
It might be pretty. So debobble it or release it because you're not going to wear it.
You're not going to wear
And you're not
it.
going to feel good wearing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anything that you own that doesn't make you feel good has no place in your life. And it as simple as that. I'm
Right.
not including children. I know that children sometimes
You
don't
can't get
make
over
you feel
kids.
good.
This kid is making me crazy. I can't get him out of here.
Yeah, you keep those. You keep those. But seriously, if something makes you miserable and you look at it and somebody gave you a really ugly vase and it sits on your mantle because they might come round, and if it's not there, they might ask you what happened to it. People can own an ugly vase for 30 years.
That's so true.
And
Yeah.
every time they look at it, they think, I hate that.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
they keep it.
gosh. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's so true.
clutter is one of 5 reasons. It's habit. I keep it because it's always been there. Fear. Well, I keep it because I'm afraid that I might need it again. The bits of wood in the garage.
Let's
or
talk about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confusion is another reason as well.
Confusion.
Guilt.
What guilt? Okay.
Yeah. So guilt is those things that you inherited from your parents that you can't stand, but you feel obliged to keep them.
Yeah. It's true. It's so true. There's this show called Antiques Roadshow. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And
Yeah.
people come out with this stuff and go, "This was grandma's." Like,
Mhm.
not worth anything, hon. But
Exactly. Yeah.
But has there ever been something you wish you hadn't let go of? I have things that I let go of that I realized that, oh my gosh, that was something that I really was using and I did need it, and to replace it was a little bit of money, but I made a mistake throwing it out, and so I had to replace it. It cost me some money, but has there been anything that you let go of that you said, oh, that was a mistake?
Honestly, hand on heart, no,
Yeah, you're good.
never, never.
Okay.
But remember, Nancy, I've been doing this for over 35 years.
Yeah.
I was in a marriage that was really challenging. I was having a tough time. I started learning about feng shui. I started learning about the impact of clutter. And so
Okay.
I started looking very carefully at everything I owned and whether it was adding to my life,
Okay.
detracting from my life, or simply serving me. And anything that was detracting from my life or wasn't serving me, I've taught myself to let it go. Now, my family will tell you I'm a nightmare at Christmas because, don't give me anything, but
Oh, you're a nightmare to give you gifts at Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will think so carefully about the gifts I give
Yeah.
and whether they will have a use in the homes of the people that they're going to. It was one of my best friend's birthday yesterday. I know that she needed a little bit more fire remedy in her house for her feng shui, but she hasn't decided what she wants yet. So I gave her this beautiful bouquet of orange tulips. And that was her birthday gift, because I know that for a couple of weeks she'll have enough fire remedy in her space. And
Okay.
she loves those, but then in 2 weeks they'll be gone. I'm not risking her feeling obliged to keep anything that she doesn't like.
Yeah. Consumables are awesome gifts. I think they're just, but
They
they
are.
understand. They understand. But the yeah, she wasn't ready to put the fire in her house.
Oh no, she's decided that she wants to commission a piece of art,
Oh,
but
very
she's
nice.
not decided on the piece of art yet. Well, in the meantime, she does need a remedy in place. So it's it's an important area of her home that she has activated. So we've been doing various little bits and pieces, but that was, as my solution for her birthday,
Oh,
to
that's
just say,
beautiful.
right, have these
That's
flowers. These
beautiful.
will do the job for you, and then that'll give you a bit of breathing space.
Can we talk just for a minute about children and feng shui in the house?
Hmm.
Is you have a kid that's really cantankerous and frustrating and they're off kilter, um, or you have a child that's withdrawn and doesn't want to go out, just give me my games and I'll play them. Can feng shui, can the environment help them?
Very much so. Very much so. Um, Unfortunately, if you think about the archetypal teen whose bedroom has been painted black, or they're going around in purple and all of that.
Yeah.
And so in feng shui, we know that the dark bluish colours, the dark blues, the blacks, the blue purples, the really dark greys, those support what we call water energy. Now, water energy is basically overwhelm, a feeling like you're drowning if there's too
Yeah.
much of it.
Yeah.
So these kids are going into their dark, dark rooms and feeling overwhelmed the moment they're in there. It's just too
Mhm.
much for them. They cannot cope.
Yeah.
They haven't got the means to explain that this is how they're feeling. So parents just let them get on with it. Now I worked with a family a couple of years ago where the daughter had been diagnosed with autism.
Mhm.
When I went into her bedroom, it was this dark purple color. She would never ever open the curtains. There was
Mhm.
clutter and mess, but it was clutter that was for a much younger child. The books that she would have read when she was 8, 9, or 10, and here she is at 15. And because of her diagnosis, she was challenging to work with. So
Mhm.
what we did basically is we worked around the rest of the house, and the rest of the house started to feel better and better. And so what happened was that drew her out of her bedroom, and she started to spend more time with the family. But she still wasn't willing to consider, perhaps I could sort my bedroom out. Now, then the family decided that they were going to move house. They decided on a total change of life. And so obviously the house had to be prepared. And at this stage, they felt able to discuss with the daughter that the bedroom needed to just be dressed to sell the house. So we changed things around. We opened the curtains, we changed the wall colour, we changed the bedding, we moved the bed away from the wall and put matching nightstands and lamps. Well, at first she said, I'm not having this. I'm not, there were tantrums. Now,
Yeah.
by the end of it, she loved that bedroom. It was light,
Really?
it was bright. Now, she went from refusing school to getting great exam results. And since
Okay.
they've moved, she has been at college every single day she's had lessons. No more refusing. That is the difference that lifting the energy around ch- children with challenges can make. Now,
Yeah.
if you've got young children, there's still, even now we know so much about colours and the impact on them, there are still families that will put their child in a bedroom that's got lots of primary colours, reds and blues and greens and yellows and oranges. And that jumble impacts the child's brain. They're waking up
Oh,
to chaos. And so they're stressed. They don't sleep properly. They don't relax. They can't focus. So when I'm working with a family who's got a young child like that, the first thing I'll say is, right, redecorate their bedroom with earth colors. Let's have very plain bedding, so no bright football colored
Mhm.
duvet sets or anything like that. Put the toys away at night. So instead of them being on display, you're having them in drawers, you're putting them away in closets,
Okay.
and those children will sleep so much better. And that gives them the balance and support that they need instead of being surrounded by bright reds and blues and dinosaurs and all sorts of distractions.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense for me. Yeah, but um, to change, I'm just still thinking about the child who started to go back to school and stopped
Mm.
arguing when her bedroom changed, even though it was a huge fight to change it.
Yeah,
It's really interesting.
it
Um,
was epic. I mean, I was astonished,
yeah,
having been on the receiving end of some of the great distress that she experienced because of
absolutely.
the emotions that she was
Yeah,
dealing with.
yeah, yeah.
And of course, I was a catalyst for this. I was in the home as a stranger doing this stuff, and she didn't hold back. So it was a very, very gentle process. It took a lot of knocking, going in, doing one thing, leaving, moving away, doing something else. But
Wow.
during the process for putting that house on the market, she was coming to me and asking what she could do to help.
No kidding.
Mm.
Wow, you built trust with her. That's
Yeah,
a gift. That's a
yeah,
gift. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But and she's not the only one. Over the years, there have been many, many children who've come to me during the process of me working on their parents' home and saying, "Oh, will you please help me with this?" Or "I'd like my room to feel like this, please."
Yeah, I love this. We're coming to the end of our time, but this just talking about these children would give so many people I know a reason to get a hold of Suzanne. You find her at interiorsTherapy.com, and especially if you're going through some big changes um, in your family life for whatever reason, get the feng shui going. And but thank you so much, Suzanne, for joining us. So that was Suzanne Roynon, interiorsTherapy.com. And don't forget her book, Welcome Home, uh, which I'm going to grab that, Suzanne Roynon. And I hate to stop talking. I guess I'll have to talk to you offline. But um,
It's
let's,
always a pleasure, Nancy. Sorting out those insecurities for children and their families and creating a happy, healthy, more
absolutely,
successful home is
absolutely.
why I'm here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited that that's a thing. So anyway, everyone, we're wrapping it up, and I want to remind you that everyone that I have on the show is available for consultation or to have a session with, or if there's something here that Suzanne says that's going to help you in your life, please do call her or connect with her one way or another. She's available on Facebook. That's how we connected. Would it be Suzanne Roynon on Facebook?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can find me looking for Suzanne Roynon or Interiors Therapy.
Or interiors therapy. So perfect. And so remember, guys, to take care of yourself, to nurture your environment, nurtures you as a person, and also nurtures your connection to your spirit and your soul. All these things go together. And that's why I was so excited to have Suzanne come with us today. So for now, I want you guys to go out there and care for yourself. Love yourself, nurture yourself, stay safe. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can't get back from it, and live a soul-powered life. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.